Alright, so at this point, the main focus of this entire situation is Zeals' response. Both the video and the document. Because that's where most of the attention is right now. After all the clips, discussions, and allegations started spreading, people were waiting for one thing, a proper explanation. And that's exactly what Zeal tried to provide. First, the response video. The tone was serious straight away. Instead of reacting casually, Zeal approached it in a structured way, going through different parts of the situation step by step. They addressed specific claims, talked about certain clips, and tried to explain their perspective on what actually happened. One of the main arguments in the response was about context. Zeal pushed back on the idea that everything being shared online told the full story. They suggested that some clips were taken out of context, and that once you look at the bigger picture, the situation isn't as one-sided as people were making it seem. But at the same time, the response wasn't just denial. There were moments where Zeal acknowledged that some things could have been handled better. And that's part of what made the response feel complicated, because it didn't fully sit on one side. It wasn't a complete defense, but it also wasn't a full apology. It was somewhere in the middle. And for a lot of people, that made it harder to interpret. Then came the document. This was meant to go even deeper, giving more detail than the video could. In it, Zeal laid out a timeline of events, trying to explain things step by step and add context to moments that had already been circulating online. Again, a major focus was on how certain situations were being interpreted. Zeal argued that, as clips spread, key details were lost, and that those missing details changed how things were being understood. The document tries to fill in those gaps and explain their version of events more clearly. It also directly responds to specific claims people had been discussing, instead of just speaking generally. When it comes to the situation involving Ren, the document is where Zeal attempts to give more clarity. From their perspective, they suggest that parts of the situation have been misunderstood as it spread online. But even with that added detail, the reaction hasn't been one-sided. Some people feel like the response, both the video and the document, helped provide important context and made the situation clearer. Others feel like it didn't fully answer everything, or that some parts are still too unclear or not directly addressed. And then, there are people who are still unsure, because there's a lot of information, and not everything lines up perfectly depending on what you've seen. So even though Zeal's response added more detail, it hasn't completely resolved the situation. Right now, it's more like it shifted the discussion. If you have enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Have a good rest of your day.